welcome to the Sage Advice series presented by Crum Consulting. I'm Maria Johnson, Junior Consultant in Marketing, and I'm thrilled to introduce our next guest today, Brandie Cottrell, owner of Austin's own Serenity Tattoo Studio. Hello. How are you?
I am doing okay. Sorry for missing this morning.
It's
Holiday,
totally fine.
the holidays dysregulate me, so I don't know what's up, down, left, right.
That's very real, so I
Yeah.
totally get it. So we can jump straight into origin question. I kind of wanted to get a background story of when you started Serenity, like what inspired you to even become a tattoo artist, just like how you landed in Serenity as it is now.
So I've always been an artist, and I mean, as a child, I just remember I wanted to do two things. It was either become a tattoo artist or become a counselor. Running a business is kind of both, or a tattoo shop is both. But I remember my mom getting a tattoo, her first tattoo whenever she was 35, and it was of a unicorn for me. It was
Aw.
huge. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen.
Oh,
Uh, it just seemed very magical. I think I was 11 at that time, but I didn't want to become a tattoo artist yet. I think
mm.
I wanted to become a tattoo artist whenever I was like 15, maybe 14 or 15. And at 15 or 16, I started to build a little jailhouse tattoo machines out of electrical toothbrushes, remote control cars.
What?
I can't tell you how I did it now, but
That's hilarious.
I was crafty. And so
You said you were 15?
15 or 16,
That's
something like
awesome.
that. Yeah.
Could
And
go into engineering too, damn.
maybe. Uh, but it's funny, I have the hardest time putting together a tattoo machine now. So, but my mom was a huge support. She bought me a tattoo kit whenever I was 17. At 19, I started my apprenticeship. Yeah, I've been tattooing ever since. I didn't think that I was going to stay in tattooing. Like the first 10 years, it was stuck in my head that I needed to find like a real job.
Mm,
So after I had my son, I went to school for counseling and I did that for like a year.
mhm.
And then I met my husband, moved up to Austin. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my bird, but
Oh, you're fine.
he hears me talking, so he wants to chime in.
That's so
Um,
cute.
Kinda. Uh, but I moved up to Austin, me and my son, and it was pretty much like do or die. I had to really jump into tattooing if I wanted, that there was that fear of survival.
Mm.
Um, and so I did. And then I found out that I absolutely love tattooing. And I think it really felt like I woke up one day. I'm like, I'm going to open up a tattoo shop.
That's awesome.
Before that, if you would have asked me if I wanted to do that, I would have thought you were batshit crazy. I did not see myself um, being a leader, managing people. Um,
Mm.
but as soon as that switch went off in me, there was like no fear, there wasn't no doubt. I just did everything that I had to do to open it.
What would you say, like switched in you? Because you said you were going to school, right? Like, where did that transition happen where you were just like, you know what, I'm gonna do tattooing instead. That's my passion, not this.
Um, well, I still love personal development stuff, so I'm still kind of in that. But I think a lot of it was So at the time, I was a drug counselor, and that wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And also, you don't make a lot of money.
Mm,
And with tattooing, I was still able to like talk with my clients. I could talk to them about whatever I wanted to talk to them about, and they could talk to me. That was a huge part of
the
my,
best of both worlds.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I got to do both of it. I got to use a lot of the skills and go deeper with my clients. I didn't get to see them once, not most of them I didn't see once a week, but
Yeah. That's wild. I couldn't imagine a tattoo a week, but that'd be really cool. And
yeah.
job security.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So they get a little bit of a counseling session along with, some art. They always say that tattoo artists are like your therapist and your
Yeah,
friend and, you know, kind of like your hairdresser.
that's awesome. So, tattooing is a very male-dominated industry, as are many industries, but obviously you're a woman tattoo shop owner. Like, what was getting into that for you like? Like you said, you didn't really feel like a leader, but you're kind of like part of pioneering women-owned shops in like an industry that can be kind of a guy's club.
Well, so in 2012, actually, more women started getting tattooed than men. And that is definitely how it is now. I would say in the beginning, whenever I started in 2008. A lot of people thought I was a receptionist. Well, I never took offense to it because usually, whenever they'd be like, "Oh, you're doing my tattoo," I'd be like, "Yes, yes, I am." And they're like, "Oh, I never had a tattoo art or a female tattoo artist. You're gonna be my first one." And
Ah,
so there was a lot of opportunity in the beginning to change people's perspective, and so that was fun. That was interesting. I At the time I didn't know that that's what I was doing, but I look on it now. I'm like, I had several opportunities that um, I was able to give clients good experience and um, yeah, get tattooed by a female. And nowadays, I don't think it's nearly as hard to find a female tattoo artist.
yeah.
We're definitely starting to flood the industry if we haven't already.
Hmm.
Uh, the only thing is that a lot of the shops that's been around for 10 plus years are male dominated because
Mm,
they were the staple. They were here before women really started stepping into the industry. And so they have that old school, hard rock and roll party hardy. I'm gonna sit in the corner and look tough mentality.
yeah.
And I have to say, I have worked in those shops and I absolutely love those men. But if I walk into a tattoo shop that I am not familiar with, I get nervous.
Yeah.
Um, but I will tell you right now, all those men are just huge softies that are usually just most people in the tattoo industry actually, if they're covered in tattoos and their
Mhm.
eyes are blacked out and their freaking head is tattooed and they look scary,
Mhm.
they're usually not.
Yeah.
Usually quiet, dorky, um,
Aw.
introverted people. Uh, Not to say that there are not tattoo artists out there that definitely um, this is a close contact art. So
Yeah.
this is an industry where there is a lot of inappropriate stuff that happens to women. And whenever I first started, I was probably hired because the guy thought I was hot.
Mm.
I'm not going to deny that. Uh, and, you know, it is what it is,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more awareness in the tattoo industry now of that kind of stuff, and also a lot more availability to women to have other women tattoo artists. Honestly, I think if there needs to be a big change, it needs to be there's not a lot of colored tattoo artists. There's not a lot of
Yes.
people of color that get tattooed because they have this idea that it's not going to show up, it's not going to look good. But if you get a tattoo artist that's educated with pigmented skin, then you'll be fine. Yeah, I'm sure we can find something that you like.
Would you have any advice for women trying to enter the industry, and especially, like you said, women of color trying to enter the industry, or any marginalized person?
Um, I would say, you know, anybody's capable of doing anything. I don't care your race or sex or anything like that. It can be more difficult, and those difficulties will arise. And it's just making sure that those don't keep you from doing what you want to do or hindering your perspective on life. I do see,
Mm.
a lot of women or there's a bitterness that will arise in somebody dealing with a lot of these struggles. And I don't, I would say, have the mentality of being the victor and not the victim. Make sure you go into it and there's going to be issues, there's going to be challenges that arise, and just make sure that you remember that you're going to be victorious over it and that none of that stuff is going to bring you down. Um, and also do your research.
Mm.
Just there, don't, if you're a tattoo artist getting into the industry and you're a woman or somebody of color or anything like that, do your research on the shop. Don't take the first shop that says yes. Or even if you're a client, don't go to just any tattoo shop. Make sure that you look into the tattoo artist that you feel like you're going to be comfortable, that you have consultation, research. Sorry, I said that that was very breathy.
Oh no, you're totally fine.
Okay. I think it's these moments that make it like fun and
Yeah,
entertaining.
I agree. It's nice knowing when you're like not the only one that gets all like worked up about this, because like every time before I start these, I'm like, why am I shaking?
I have like some ice in here, an ice packet behind my back, and it helps cool my nervous system. I do it before every meeting.
That's really smart, honestly. I have coffee, which is probably not a good idea before
Yeah,
each. Yeah. That's fine.
I stayed
It's
away from the caffeine.
my caffeine addiction says no.
That's fair. That's fair.
So how many years has it been now that you've been running Serenity?
Um, we opened up January of 22. There's a huge debate in the shop. None of us can do math. Whether, whether or not we've been open for 3 years or 4 years, I don't know why.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we're going on our fourth year.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, so how would you say that like over that span of time, your relationship with your clients like started to grow and evolve into just like that trust-based, very personal relationship that you mentioned earlier?
I that's been something that I've always been good at with my clients. Um, I always tell this story, but I worked in a shop with two other artists, and they were much better artists than me. Um, but I was able to build better rapport with my clients, so I was able to keep up with them. If you if you have good rapport and trust with your clients, they will stick with you forever. And
Mm.
something that I teach everybody in the shop is you can have an amazing tattoo, but if the experience was really shitty with the artist, then that client is not going to be happy with their tattoo. You have a shitty tattoo and the most amazing experience, then the tattoo is going to be all right.
Yeah.
So
You
we
can grow your portfolio with that client.
yes. Yeah, that's how I did it in the beginning. Now Serenity, we do great tattoos and we try our best to have great experiences. I would say now that I have opened up a business, I'm not as um on top of my own game like I used to be, like being able to, and I wouldn't say it was a game, it was more like I had more energy and bandwidth to really like
Mm.
sit and chat with my clients. And I am a curious motherfucker, and sometimes I'm too curious about my clients. And now some days I really just want to come in and put in my headphones and
Yeah.
put the TV on for my clients and just let us vibe out. So I do that a lot more now.
I think a balance is pretty
Yeah.
necessary, especially in an industry like that, where, like you said, you're just kind of become someone's little counselor or just someone to chat with for however long you're tattooing them. It doesn't surprise me that that energy just gets taken away from you so fast, especially with running the whole place on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
But
have any advice for people who kind of struggle with the same like problems when it comes to communicating with clients? Like how you can still build trust without having like consistent communication.
so a lot of artists have a hard time tattooing and talking.
Mm.
I do not find that difficult. Um, but what you can do is find, like my thing is talking with the client and communicating on a deeper level like that. There's Ray, our other artist. Sometimes she's also a talker, but she's
Mm.
also a gift giver. Um, so maybe even creating like little take home packets for your client.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Not every artist, most artists aren't very social. So there are other ways to build that rapport and that experience that doesn't involve a whole lot of chatting. What are the five love languages?
Um,
Yes.
Quality time. So just kind of like you said, I think I would consider that quality time where you just throw something on and you're both kind of
Yeah,
enjoying each other's presence in silence.
yeah, yeah.
There's
Gift
gift giving, yeah. Uh,
food should be one of them. You could provide them a snack. Yeah, just showing your gratitude and your love through your own, your own love language. And not all clients are going to take it, but you're going to find your people who do enjoy that. There was also one other artist. Another artist had like a little goodie bag with like a sticker and some ointment and like a little note and then a Palo Santo stick. Um,
oh,
yeah, so it was super cute. And then Ray with her clients that she's had for a long time, she'll get you know food or flowers or other little gifts. Yeah.
that's sweet.
Hmm.
That's really smart. And also marketing perspective.
Hmm.
Speaking of branding,
Mm.
how important would you say branding and community has been towards your success? And like, would you consider your branding its own entity, or is it like an extension of you and your own like personal tastes?
So it started off as its own entity.
Hmm.
Um, Branding has been so hard.
Yeah, it is difficult.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's, so whenever I first started out, I wanted, the soup, or I really didn't want a super girly shop. I wanted a cozy, homey shop. It went girly on me. I don't know. But I wanted it to be like all this light and love and a lot of white everywhere with the plants and nature. And then there'd be days that I came in, I felt like meh. I just want to sit down and tattoo, not talk to anybody. I try not to show that being a business owner.
Mhm.
But so I started to integrate some more dark elements and painted the walls a darker purple. So the branding has evolved. Um,
Mhm.
just be all sunlight and love. And now it's a little bit more, still the sunlight, but a little bit more moody. And depending on your flavor, we I wanted to integrate both sides of that.
I think when it comes to that, you kind of get stuck in a mindset of like, this is the brand and this is what it's always going to be. So then, like, when it comes to things starting to change, it feels like you're starting over sometimes.
Yeah. And like, where
Yeah.
did you start? Like,
Yeah.
um, it's work. It's. But whenever you have a business, it's always going to be work. And so
Yeah.
it was fun once I got over the hump of the fear of changing it. And like, gosh, how am I going to do that? Um,
hmm Would you say that was like the biggest key to kind of like getting over that hump with branding was like telling yourself like this is mine, I can do whatever I want. This
yeah,
isn't permanent. There are
yeah.
no rules.
I had to have a lot of the other artists be like, you could do this or do that. I'm like, oh, that's simple. And it's not,
Mm,
$10,000. So
yeah. So how would you say that you like kind of got to where your branding is right now? Like what interests kind of came into play? I'm curious.
so Serenity. Um, Serenity, it comes from I'm in recovery. I quit drinking alcohol in like 2012. Alcohol's in
Congrats.
yeah. And then my husband's in recovery as well. Um, and just the personal development part of that. So Serenity comes from the Serenity Prayer. And um, my husband actually came up with it. I couldn't think of anything. I am not good with words. I'm not good with names or anything like that.
Fair.
And then, the walls were all white. I was thinking of just, the light and love. And then I'm like, you know what? That's who I am sometimes. That's not me all the time. And you know, serenity is just one part of the serenity prayer. There's also serenity, wisdom, acceptance. Oh, shit. Oh, Serenity, and there's one other one in there, but I have it painted up on the wall. Um,
Cute.
and so, I love books, I love learning, I love um, spiritual stuff. Even though it's the Serenity Prayer, I wouldn't say I'm Christian. I love like all of it.
Mhm.
So it was just, I wanted to base the shop off of education and diving deeper and um, really getting to know yourself and accepting all sides of yourself, the light and the dark, because we're not always happy, and that's fine.
Is there anything that you wish you had known before opening a tattoo studio?
Um,
Or any advice that you would have given like 19-year-old apprentice you?
yeah, so I think opening up the tattoo studio, like I knew that I understood the tattoo industry. So there weren't any questions there, but I didn't know that I really did not consider leading. Um, the last shops that I worked at, it was with, older tattoo artists that had been in the industry for 10 plus years. You come in, do your work, and leave. Um, I wanted to take on a lot of newer artists that needed the guidance and needed the education. And um, so I wish I would have kind of evaluated my weaknesses and strengths
Mm,
before I did softly. um,
Yeah.
but really went a little bit deeper into it. Um, yes, yeah. That first year was tough. I had a full shop. I thought the shop was doing great.
Mhm.
It wasn't. I had every single tattoo artist leave me other than my apprentice Alethea.
Oh, wow.
And it was because of my lack of leadership, my lack of communication skills, my lack of confidence. Um, Luckily, I had hired Cole 2 weeks before that happened. A business, the business manager, Cole, for
Mhm.
anybody watching this, as soon as she came in, it was pretty much just a fresh start. It worked out perfectly. There was also one other thing. Let me see. Nope.
It's a good answer still.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the last question I had typed out. Your final sage advice. If someone is considering starting their own tattoo studio or any creative business in general, what is your top piece of advice? Like, are there mindset shifts, practical steps you have to take, personal philosophies you kind of start to adopt?
Okay. So this actually helped me remember what I was going to say.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I think the thing that I did do well at was asking for help.
It's one of the hardest things,
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm not naturally good at it, but whenever I don't know something, I will seek out somebody that knows more.
Hmm.
Um, and so, if you're looking to get into the tattoo industry, a lot of tattoo artists the apprentices will go through a teenage phase.
Mm.
They think that they know more and can do better than their mentors. I don't know why this happens. I went through it myself.
That's-
um, so for the apprentices, watch out for that. Uh,
Okay.
and then as a business owner, there's a lot of free resources that I used. I got a free business advisor. Whenever I started doing better, I was able to, hook up with Cole and have Cole help me out. And that was well worth it. And now I'm not good at email, so I delegate stuff out. If I am not good at something, I try not to tackle it or I try to get educated in it.
I like that. That's not like a route you hear very often. I feel like people always expect to brute force overcome things, and
Mm,
it takes a lot of self-reflection. Um, just
yeah.
like I feel like I'm in that space right now. Where I'm just like, oh, I don't have to do everything on my own, and I don't have to know how to do everything, so I don't have to put that weight on myself and take on burdens that are just like unnecessary.
Yeah. Fuck that. No, don't do it.
Yeah. Build
Yeah,
community.
exactly. Yes. Yes. And that's been great. Yeah, because there's people, Alethea actually does my
Oh.
email. If I get over usually 12 is the number. I will start crying. I start to get overwhelmed and oh my gosh, there's 12 emails that I have to reply to. Now she does them because she enjoys
I
it.
love that. That'll definitely be some good advice for
Mhm.
neurodivergent crowd, especially because I totally get that where like over a certain threshold in my inbox, I'm like, I am 2 years behind work at least somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
yeah, that's my
That was fun. I guess, where can our audience find you if they want to find Serenity Tattoo Studio online?
Well, it's easy. So you can either go to the website, which is www.serenitytattoostudio.com, or you can check us out on Instagram, which is just the at symbol at Serenity Tattoo Studio, and we are located off northwest Austin, Texas. off of Anderson Mill.